Hello, hello. How are you today? I'm so glad you could join me. Here's a look at the beautiful card that we're going to be making today, and we're going to be doing some embossing with a stencil today. So you can see here that I have a Spellbinders platform machine, and I'm just going to adhere this butterfly stencil with some washi tape to my cardstock. You want to put the stencil down and then the paper on top of it, then your embossing mat and the embossing plate, and then you'll get a good emboss with your stencil this way. It's the same with every machine, but the different plates that you have to use and stuff, you'll want to look at the directions on your machine for those plates. Okay, so I am going to adhere this with some of this blue tape because that washi tape was curling up, and I'm going to add some color to my butterfly with some Distress Oxide inks. I'm going to use Cracked Pistachio on the body. Then I'm going to use two colors. This is Worn Lipstick, and then I'm going to go out to the outer edges and use Spiced Marmalade, and then I'm going to try to blend those two colors together in the middle. So I'm laying down a pretty thick layer of that Worn Lipstick, and I'll do the same thing with the Spiced Marmalade on the outer edges. I'm going to leave just a little bit of white area there. Actually, it's just I'm putting a very light layer down between the two colors of that Spiced Marmalade, and I'll come back with the Worn Lipstick to try to blend those two together. So again, you're gonna apply it fairly thick in the middle and the edges, and then light in between the two colors, and then come back to blend. So I'm just going to do a touch-up with that Cracked Pistachio, and we're done. That was pretty quick and easy. Of course, I did speed up the video, but it didn't take long to do that. And now I'm going to use this Fiskars stamp set. I'm going to use the Greeting Happy Birthday. I'm going to heat emboss it, so I'm putting some anti-static powder down to prevent the embossing powder from sticking to where it shouldn't. And then I'm going to use some Versamark ink to ink up the stamp. And then this is a cool little tool to have. This, it's called a tidy tray, that little blue tray there that catches all the embossing powder, and it has kind of a funnel on one end so you can put it back in the jar really easily. And then this is a We Are Memory Keepers eyelet, or no, a brad setter. Sorry, it's a brad setter and a picker. And I use it quite often for lots of different things. You'll see if you watch my videos. Now I'm going to use my heat tool to heat that embossing powder. Since I'm working on a craft mat, I do want to put something between the craft mat and the heat of that heat tool. So I used a clipboard. And now I'm going to use my paper trimmer to trim this up, and I'm going to just cut off those excess edges with my scissors and do some fussy cutting. I am using a trick that I learned a long time ago, and that's to turn the paper more than the scissors, and you'll get a better cut that way. Alrighty, so now that that's done, I'm going to put it on the front of my card, and you get a chance to see what it will look like. Now, since this is a square card, I'm taking an 8.5 11 piece of paper, scoring it at 5.5 and folding it, and then cutting that at 5.5. So that gives me my 5.5 by 5.5 card base. And I'm going to use this score tape just because it's an embossed piece of paper, and I want to make sure that I get a good stick. I want to make sure it adheres quite well to my card base. So that's why I'm using this score tape. I'm just going to put that on there. I'm going to use my stamping tool to help me get it aligned properly. I always have trouble with that. I don't know about you, but that's one of the things that drives me nuts. So that little tool really helps a lot. And you know, I haven't seen that tool for a long time, but today it was available on Amazon, so I'll leave a link for that down below if you're interested in that. That's the original one. They have an advanced one and, you know, different models that they've come out with, but that was the very first one that they came out with, and I actually like it the best. Okay, so you could be done with the card right here, but I'm going to go ahead and carry over into the inside of the card with the same colors, and I'm going to use some flowers because flowers go very well with butterflies. And I'm just going to use the same colors of Distress Oxide ink that I used on the butterfly. And I'm going to try to create that same gradient between the Worn Lipstick and the Spiced Marmalade. So one of the things that you should do, definitely, you'll notice that I did not do it. You'll definitely want to tape your stencil down. That will help you avoid messes on your card, like smearing your ink and so on and so forth. And I just neglected that step, and I shouldn't have, because I do smear the ink a little bit later, which you'll see. But there is a wonderful tool for taking up those messes that you make on your cards. I don't know about you, but I always tend to rush things and then I make a mess. So that's something that you might want to avoid and learn from my mistakes. Okay, so I'm just having some fun putting down this ink. I really love inking things. It's so much fun. I don't even mind getting my fingers dirty. Some people hate it, but not me. I love it. It's lots of fun. And I'm just going to go ahead and finish up these flowers here. When I pull it up, you'll see that there's some blank areas. So I decided to go ahead and just add some little ones around the edges, just to make the card, make it look like there isn't any spaces, and it fills up that area, so it just looks a little more complete. And I'm going to use those little ones there. And this is a tool, it's for picking up jewels or rhinestones. It's a Marva Uchida jewel picker, but I'm using it just to put the center of those flowers in with that cracked pistachio color. Alrighty, so you can see here this is an electric eraser, and I'm using it to try to get up some of the smaller areas of mess that I made. It works great for little small areas, but for the larger ones, I like to use this Tombow Mono Sand Eraser. It really picks up that stray ink that I made a mess on. So these are great tools to have in your craft room because they can help you when you make mistakes or messes. So I love that. Alrighty, that looks pretty good. But as I said, you could be finished there, but I decided to add some glitter. This is the Wink of Stella clear glitter. Isn't that beautiful? I just can never get enough of that glitter. I use it, I think, on almost all the cards I make. I don't know if you love it as much as I do, but I just can't get enough of it. And it's great because it's not as messy as real glitter. You know, you don't have to make a mess on your craft table because it doesn't get everywhere. So I love that. It sticks really well to the page. So that makes me really, really, really happy and puts a big smile on my face. So I decided to go ahead and do the same thing to the butterfly, add some of that shine to the butterfly. And you can see that I didn't close the card because I wanted to make sure that it dried before I made a mess on the inside of the card. So definitely take your time with it and think about those things, because I often don't. So I just get so into the creative aspect of it that I don't stop to think about little things like that, and that's important. So do that. And that's the card for today. I'm going to add a few little rhinestones here. I like to buy the clear ones because you can always color them with your alcohol markers. So I just always buy the clear ones, and then I have them for whatever I want. Now you can add a handwritten message inside, or you can do a stamped one. This is a Hampton Art stamp called JD Flower something. I missed that there. But I'm using this precision press stamp and some versified ink, and it just says, wishing you happiness. What does it say? We'll see in a moment. But I'm going to tape that card down to make sure that it doesn't move around, because it's not just a panel, it's a card. So wishing you a day filled with happiness. So there's a look at the finished card. I hope you had a great time today, and I hope you will give this a try. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I really appreciate you watching. Have a beautiful day.